Wolves 8 in what was a great game. Let's be fair, real tussle at the totally wicked stadium. Bragging rights going the way of St Helens against the Wire this year. 4 wins from 4. Another tight affair. There's been 3 of them, of course, in that 4 matches against these 2 sides. It was a really good game, wasn't it? Really, really enjoyed it. Curtis Simmons yet again against Warrington. His run for the Lewis Dodd try, absolutely wonderful from him. I have to say, Matty Ashton, of course, crowned the Warrington Wolves Player of the Year last week, was on fire in defence. Some of his defensive work in that first half especially was well worth mentioning on In the Sheds here today for this playoff game. I thought he was very good indeed. Of course, there was the 2 yellow cards, Walmsley and Bullock. No arguments really, I think, for both. I mean, many St Helens fans coming off, on social media after the game in terms of the Walmsley one. Bottom line is he doesn't need to go when he's the 3rd man. His shoulder hits the head. That's going to be given a yellow all day long. There's nothing you can do about that. Bullock equally, he was disappointed. I mean, I think it was a lot more chest and shoulder where Bullock was concerned, but maybe it was classed as reckless, hence the reason why he went off for 10 minutes. And I think neither of those decisions really had a bearing on the game. Of course, when Walmsley was off, Warrington scored, of course, the penalty to tie it up at 8 apiece. Of course, Connor Wrench scoring. What a glimpse into the future that could be for Warrington Wolves fans. I thought Wrenchy on the right-hand side for Warrington, both in defence, but of course in attack. I mean, don't get me wrong, you've got to back yourself. The pass was on the inside. It would have made the kick a lot easier for Stephen Ratchford, but he backed himself. He thought he could take Wellesby on in those conditions, and he was right. A brilliant solo effort from Connor Wrench in this game, and congratulations must go to him. I think when he's played this year for Warrington, there's been elements of class throughout, Magic Weekend, etc. He really is a talent, and you listen to Gary Chambers this season. He's a talent that Warrington want to make sure he's well protected for the future. Of course, having had that ACL injury last season. Back to St Helens, of course, Tommy Makinson, had to be Makinson, didn't it? Got the try that proved to be the winning try in the end. Of course, another conversion coming a little bit later on from a penalty from Matty Russell's high shot on John Bennison. But all in all, this was right in the melting pot. Again, Warrington making things uncomfortable for the champions. It's been a season that, promised so much in those early stages for Warrington, but of course, it just collapsed in the middle of the season. And even though I think they've been quite competitive since Gary Chambers has come into the interim coach position, the momentum of sport is so critical. And what we've seen going into these playoffs is, the teams that are now in the semi-finals, every single one of them had momentum coming in to the final, a winning streak of games that he's making sure that, for me, this could be one of the most incredible semi-final weekends that we've ever witnessed in Super League, due to the quality of the teams and the way in which they are playing rugby league. St Helens could go 5 from 5. Nobody thought this possible, certainly midway through this season. Credit has to go to Paul Wellens. He really has galvanised this team. They've been doing it very steady, under the radar for large periods, but now, of course, the cream rising to the top. I mean, it's a really tough game that they're going to have to play in Perpignan. Of course, St Helens, we have to say that that's not a place that they will be looking forward to going to. So let's have a quick look ahead then. Like I say, congratulations must go to St Helens for their win over Warrington, 16 points to 8. For the Warrington Wolves, of course, big things now expected for them next season. Of course, in comes Sam Burgess. That's going to be one to watch, but we'll deal with that in January when we do the Super League Raw Weekly in the build-up to the new season. All in all, from a Warrington Wolves perspective, a pretty disappointing year, especially when you consider they went 8 from 8. As for Saints, like I say, 5 titles on the spin is still a possibility going into this game now. In absolutely wonderful, wonderful form are the team that currently hold the Super League trophy. Let's have a quick look down the list here. That is their 9th game in a row. That's right, 9 games now in a row St Helens have won. Outstanding. They're going to be coming up against the Catalan Dragons team that have not got such a large winning streak, albeit they have got a winning streak of 3 games coming into this one: Trinity, Leeds Rhinos and Salford. And many will say that doesn't compare to what St Helens have had to go through, because in St Helens' run of those 9 games, you're looking down the list, you're seeing the likes of Salford Red Devils, who of course are not an easy picking by any stretch of the imagination. They've gone and they've beaten Hull KR, a team that is in the semi-final. Again, a great side. Lee Leopards is in there. A really difficult and tight game at the HJ against Warrington Wolves. So, St Helens go into this game without doubt for me, probably in the better form, but Catalan will have had that week off. Now, of course, that sometimes can play against the side. Saints themselves will tell you that. I remember, going back a few years when Warrington, I think they highlighted this before the game on Saturday, where Warrington, of course, the Trent Waterhouse years, where Warrington, of course, pipped them. And, of course, the year where Tommy Lynham went to the Totally Wicked Stadium. And, of course, he pinched the pockets of St Helens that season. So, like I say, sometimes the week off can actually count against you. Let's take a look at how these two sides have gone this season. Of course, the first time that they met was at the Catalan Dragons in Perpignan. 24 points to 12. The Dragons beat the Saints. Then further down the season, of course, at the Totally Wicked Stadium, again, the Catalan Dragons coming away with a win. 14 points to 12. So this season, it's 2-0 to the Catalan Dragons going into this game. It really could be an incredible match, couldn't it? Let's see what happens there. There's no doubt St Helens now are right back at it in terms of their fitness. The only one really missing at the weekend was Conrad Hull and, of course, Parsi. Apart from that, they're in great health. Will Alex Walmsley get a ban? There'll be a lot of people looking at the disciplinary list today to see if Alex Walmsley gets a ban. That will be a hammer blow, just having got him back. Will they decide to take action on that shoulder charge against Philbin? It's going to be an interesting one, that. Really, sorry, it was Crowell, wasn't it? Really interesting to see what happens there to Alex Walmsley. Personally speaking, I want to see the best teams go head-to-head. I want to see both of these two sides, Catalan and St Helens at full strength, going hammer and tong as a neutral. That's what I want to see. And may the best team win. Of course, on the other side of the semi-final, it's KR and Wigan, and we've seen all season KR have done very, very well against Wigan. That opening game where nobody expected it, a brilliant 27 points to 18 win in the favour of Hull KR. Then, of course, it was the week before Magic Weekend, round number 13, when KR went to Wigan, lost 21 points to 14, and then, of course, that massive loss, 64 points to 6, albeit, of course, that was before the final against Lee, and, of course, that backfired on Willie Peters. For me personally, these are arguably, alongside Adrian Lamb, the four best coaches in the division this year, the four best teams in the division this year. Yes, Lee have been, you'd have to put them in the same bracket as these four, of course you would, but they've dropped off at the end of the season. These four sides have been there and thereabouts all year. KR beaten finalists in the Challenge Cup, galvanised since the Challenge Cup final. They rightly so are in these semi-finals. Wigan, of course, League Leaders Shield winners, in exceptional form under Matty P this season. Can they do it? And at the moment, I think they look the tighter, the best form side, but of course form counts for nothing in playoff rugby league. St Helens, you cannot count out the Saints. They want to get 5 from 5. What a story that would be for Paul Wellens in his first season, World Club champions and Super League Grand Final winners for the 5th successive season. Or will it be one of the two possibly underdogs, Catalan Dragons? Steve McNamara, yet again, delivering a team that has been competitive this season. They've been to a grand final, of course, already. And Hull KR, the team under Willie Peters, who is not impressed by Hull KR this season and the way they've been playing, especially in these later stages. Mikey Lewis on fire. I think Walker's addition at fullback has been absolutely incredible for them. We know they've got the incredible Ryan Hall on the left wing. Senior is no slouch, a brilliant pair of centres as well. We know they've got bags of riches in that side. It really is too close to call, isn't it? We, of course, will be live on Tuesday night, Super League Raw Weekly, live on the Fans Forum. We're going to be going deep diving into these two games. We're going to have a big discussion about these two semi-finals. One thing's for certain, hopefully, if it's anything like we've seen this season, Rugby League is going to be the winner. I, for one, as a neutral now, cannot wait for these two games and, of course, the eventual final at Old Trafford. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the season? What are your thoughts on this game, Warrington against St Helens? What are your thoughts in terms of the semi-finals and who is going to get to the final? Don't forget to join us, 8 o'clock, Fans Forum page, of course, for the Super League Raw Weekly. It will, of course, be uploaded on YouTube. That has been another edition of In the Sheds. We will be back for the playoff semi-finals. Go well, everybody.